YouTube. Yes, I'll probably put quite a clickbaity title for this affront to God. So we have here an Epiphone Les Paul special model, which I quite like, but I mean, honestly, if you're easily triggered, look away, Mr. Whitesnake, just look away. Stock comes with a Strat trem. This is a Les Paul special GT. I've actually had an SG GT in before. The only reason I know that is because it's got a push kill switch under the tone control. Yeah, so I mean, the strings on this are ancient. Not yet decided exactly what I'm going to do with it. But it's just bizarre having... And it's one of those things that... Why not? Why do you not get these with a Strat trem? Strat trems, look at the price you get. The cheapest guitar everyone always sells is always a Strat, so the trem can't be that expensive. And right then, it's just flat, it's square. It just seems like an awful good idea. Well, obviously the difference between something like a Strat trem or a Floyd Rose or a Bigsby or something like that is with a Strat trem, if you don't want it, you just tighten the screws up in the back, take the bar out, and it's a hardtail. It's fine. So I mean, it doesn't have. Just checking to make sure it doesn't. I think I'll probably put coil splits in it, just so that it does the. But it's actually quite. I don't think this is particularly. I don't think this is a particularly cheap guitar. Although the special was at one point the cheapest Les Paul you could get. Although they did bring out that SL one. No to the SL guitar. It crossed a line. I've always sat above that line. The line being, is that a guitar that you can gig with and it works properly? That's it. The Les Paul specials have always been over that line. Just that bit where it's like, yes, you can totally gig it. I mean, I'm not saying it's utterly fantastic, but it's simple enough. It's got that Telecaster-y type vibe. Things are adjustable. There's not much to it. There's not much to go wrong. It's just a flat piece of wood. Quite plain looking. This one is, I don't know what colour you would call it, drab browny green, translucent. Kind of reminds me of that Ibanez Art Core, actually. Looks alright. Black hardware. Got inlays on the fretboard as well. To make it a little bit different, I suppose. I mean, I don't know, as I said, I looked these up online and there's only one person got one. He wants 250 quid for it because it's rare. Maybe it does have, I wouldn't have thought that would be worth that much. It might be J-Paxed or Buckied though. I'm not sure what to do with it. I do quite fancy putting a push-pull coil split in just to get single coil sounds, just so you've got, and talk about versatile. It's like, I've just got a Les Paul. There are songs, what happens when we're playing the Shadows song or the Pink Floyd one? Well, I've got a tremolo and I can knock it into single coils. Rat pedal! And the pickups in these are always good as well. They weren't always, but when you get to, once they start making them in China and Indonesia, after the Samick era, they started putting good pickups in them. The guitars weren't as good, the Samick guitars were better, but they had terrible, intentionally bad pickups in them. But I mean, these are the Epiphones I like. These and that SG. I don't know what it was. Just called an SG Special. It says so on the headstock. No, it doesn't. Is that a Junior? What is it? It's a Special SG model. This is just a special model. Might be the very similar neck, feels very similar, but just kind of tried and tested in the middle, honest guitar. That's about maybe my thing with the Epiphone Les Pauls come in, when you're paying £400, £500, £600 for it, and you're paying for all this binding and fancy looking wood, and you're like, well, you're not paying for any of that, and that's okay. You're paying a premium for the fret markers, but makes it a bit different. neck. Wow, it's just something you don't expect to get, that whole, because I've got the floating trem, so I'm hitting that note and bending the other string. You know, for your Chuck Berry. Which I'm not used to having to compensate for, but you just have to do that with every strat. This is really just suffering from bad strings. Maybe I wonder if the muff will help. I've been seeing if things will muff. I wonder if this will muff. It's missing a lot of high end, but I think that's just purely down to the fact that these strings are old. Forgot it's got a I do quite like the idea of having like another hidden feature. So you've already got just a like for Les Paul special. That's fine. Whoa, it's got a strat trem. Whoa, it's got a kill switch. Whoa, it's got coil splits. Whoa, it's got new strings on it, which would be something I would be once I get my car sorted. That'll be it. Yeah, I wish I could play it a bit more. Just I feel I'm not really feeling it because the strings are they're not rusty or hurting my fingers. They're just dead. They might even be the original ones from this guitar. What's it? 2011. They could be. They've just got that. There's no zing to them whatsoever. Although I will try something that an old pros trick. So guitar sounding a little bit muffled and dead. Turn the volume up. See, that's how you do it. Sounds better when you turn it up. What about do the muff now? I did. So there's a question I have. I've definitely asked this before online without having known that this actually existed. As in, why don't you get Les Pauls with a Stratocaster tremolo on them? I suppose technically you're kind of getting into when you get to the Wing series. They did come with a 2-point vibrato, which a bridge that looked very similar to that, but the similar, the routing in the back with the springs. My Stage A20 has it. So I suppose technically you did get a Les Paul with, if you're looking at something like that. I think the Yamaha SGs, I'm not sure they ever had like what I would class as a Strat trem. Because I would class the one that's on the Washburns as okay, it's a 2 point and it's got the saddles, it's a slightly different shape, but it's got the, the block and the springs and all that. So arguably it's a Strat trem. So I don't know why they never did it. You do see obviously Les Paul with Bigby's, and you now get them with Floyd Roses as well. And but why not just put a Strat trim in it? Is it just because purely it was a Fender design and they're not going to want to use their? It's like, we're Gibson, we don't use Fender parts. There actually used to be a guitar called, was it called an Estevan or something like that? That used to be the cheapest guitar you could get on eBay at one point, maybe about 10, 15 years ago. And it was kind of this kind of thing, but it had like I can't remember whether it had a Strat trem or not, but it had like just a pick guard with 3 Strat pickups in it, but it was a Les Paul Junior type vibe. I think there's definitely something in it to be had for something like that, just having the Gibson scale and just simple. Simple is where these live. And obviously to upgrade it, there's not that many bits on it, so upgrading it, you could put CTS pots in, there's only 2, that's fine. Put any pickups you want in this. And it does have the enclosed tuners, not the sealed type, but they seem to be working fine. They always do work fine, it's just when somebody tries to, once it's been, they don't stand being dropped and stuff like that, the way normal tuners, the way the better tuners do. And I'm not used to using a kill switch. Actually, to be honest, what I was thinking of doing was just flipping this quite quickly. And I was obviously the coil splitting thing would be lovely, but that involves me taking the pickups to bits, adding wires, and then buying a push pull pot, which are like £7 to put in it to make it do it. And it's like, that's an hour, a couple of hours work and all that. Is it actually going to make it any more sellable, or do I just flip the 2 wires for the neck pickup and then say it's got a Peter Green mod, which means you've still got the 3 sounds, but the one in the middle is out of phase. It's like it does seem like I'm cheating somewhere, but no, just do that. It is the Peter Green wiring. If you don't like the Peter Green wiring, I'll undo it. Actually, my pal Roddy's just about to come over, and he's just bought a. Oh, I've never actually put the video out. I put it out over the next days when the mic was knackered. He bought a Les Paul Junior. An Epiphone Les Paul Junior white with a single dog ear P90 in it, and it's in quite good condition. It was quite expensive, but I think it's one of these ones it's a desirable year. If you look up the forums, they tell you, oh, you want to buy one from 97 or whatever it is. It's a desirable year rather than getting the one from the year later when they moved to China or whatever it was happened. I think it's a Samick one he's got. But he was talking about he's going to get a cheaper one of them and then relic it, and it's like, I've got one here. It's a bit more interesting than just a normal one. You need to put any sort of pickups in it. It's got the Strat trem. Don't have to make it more interesting than any other Les Paul. It's the most interesting Les Paul I've played this year. But I think of a Les Paul that's more interesting, not better, just more interesting. Maybe one of the most interesting Les Pauls I've ever played, apart from maybe one that's from like the 70s or something. That's quite interesting because it's from the 70s. I did quite find that one, the 74 one, I set up for somebody last year about this time. I did find it quite interesting because it's the sandwich body and stuff like that. And you see, I got to see what things like that the Ibanez artists were competing against, the 70s Les Paul. But it's not interesting for what it was. It was just interesting having a Strat trim. Judging the guy I got with this, obviously a Green Day fan, I should be able to play some of Green Day, shouldn't I? The thing is, I can probably play most of Green Day songs, but it has to be on so I can remember what it actually goes like. I've never played that Journey song before. Just a small town girl living in a lonely world. Take it to me, it's been a fight to keep my view. I think I've been threatening to do this for a while. I need to put a kill switch in one of my guitars. The thing I'd probably be alright doing it. It's a little bit the same problem I've got with trems. Because I've got too many guitars that have them, every time I use a trem, the arm's in a different place. It's the same with the kill switch. It's like any guitar I've ever had that's in a kill switch has been in a different place. So you kind of, I'm not used to it. It's not just grabbing it. To be honest, this one, because it's got Strat trems, an awful lot easier to use than an awful lot of other ones because the Strat trems are kind of known entity. So I've not decided what's going to happen to this. I'm interested to see what happens over the next while. It's like, sell it now for a quick boost to try and get money for a car. Bucky it. It'd be an expensive Bucky caster. Sell it to Jen for J-Paxson. Put switches and stuff in it. Basically, or just put strings on it maybe. Or maybe sell it without strings for a 10 or less. Don't know. So, Merry Christmas. I don't know if I'll do a video for Christmas Day. It's a bit, I did about 10 of those Muff videos. I might just put them out all through Christmas to keep you interested. So rock on and have a Merry Christmas. And I will see you on the other side. I'll put something out tomorrow. I don't know what I'll do. Whatever. Rock on!